everybody! So today I'm going to talk about the Abominable Snowman. I've actually tried to film this 5 times now, and every time something went wrong. And now I'm really hoping this is the last time I'm going to try to film this. I had one idea and then I squashed that, and now I'm doing something else makeup wise. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk about the Abominable Snowman and do my makeup. I'm trying to find like a name for this series. Don't really know what it should be, but I'm going to figure it out. So I think we're just gonna get started, or else I'm going to talk way too much in this intro. So I think we're just gonna get started. Yeah. I have so much to talk about with this Abominable Snowman. So I'm just going to talk about the Abominable Snowman and not what I'm doing on my face. So yeah, I can't really do both, or else this video will be too long. Way too long. So the Abominable Snowman is the most common word or common name for this being, and is also called the Yeti in Himalayan folklore. And the Abominable Snowman, or the Yeti, got the name Abominable Snowman by accident. So in 1921, a journalist called Henry Newman interviewed a group of British explorers who just returned from Mount Everest expedition. The British explorers had discovered some very large footprints on the mountain, and this is where their indigenous guide had said it was the Meto Kangmi, and I'm going to put that somewhere on the screen because I know I'm butchering that name. I know it. So Meto Kangmi means man bear snowman, which when Newman had it translated, he got the snowman part right, but mistranslated Meto to filthy, but thought the word abominable sounded better, and then used this name in the paper, and that is what it has been called ever since, the Abominable Snowman. So the Abominable Snowman is said to live in the Himalayan region of Tibet and Nepal. So the Abominable Snowman is a tall, muscular, ape-like being, ape-like, that is said to be covered in either, like, there's mixed reviews here, okay? It is either covered in white or grayish, dark grayish fur, or reddish brown fur, and has very large teeth and claws. Yeah, so it is, comparing to other really big mythical creatures like the Abominable Snowman, for example, the Bigfoot of North America, it is actually relatively short, where the Yeti is about 1.8 meters tall, which is 6 feet tall, and weighs about 91 to 181 kilograms, which is 200 to 400 pounds. People say that there are creatures out there like the Abominable Snowman, and those are Bigfoot of North America. Then we have the Chuchuna in Russian folklore, and yes, I have some trouble speaking. I don't know why. So it is from Russian folklore, but it is said to be a creature from Siberia, which is 180 centimeters tall and covered in dark hair and is well built. It is a Neanderthal-like man wearing pelts and bearing a white patch of fur on its forearms, and some people say they saw like a tail on the creature's corpse. And then we also have the Almas in Mongolian folklore, which is a creature who lives in the Caucasus and Pamir Mountains of Central Asia and the Altai Mountains of Western Mongolia, and is said to be a human being with a flat face that walked on two legs, was covered in a thick black fur, and had enormous claws, and was really, really strong. So I'm just going to do my cut crease because I can't do that off camera. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm going to be right back. So I'm gonna talk about some of its history, and I'm just gonna start off in the 19th century. So in the 19th century, the Yeti was a part of the pre-Buddhist beliefs of several Himalayan people, and that the Lepcha people also worshipped a glacier being, and the followers of the Bon religion also believed that the blood of the god, I don't know, I'm gonna put it on the screen, or wild man had use in certain mystical ceremonies. The being was said to be a ape-like creature who carries a large stone as a weapon and makes a whistling swoosh sound. And everywhere I went, it says swoosh. So I'm also saying swoosh. It says a swoosh sound. Yeah. So in 1832, James Prinsep's Journal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal published Trekker B.H. Hodgson's account of his experience in northern Nepal. His local guide spotted a tall bipedal creature covered in long dark hair, which seemed to flee in fear. Hodgson concluded it was an orangutan. If you don't know what bipedal means, you can either search for it, or I'm just gonna tell you now. A bipedal creature is a creature that walks on two legs. Very simple. So technically, you could say that we're also a bipedal creature. I'm going to link everything I'm using on my face down below if you're curious. So it was an orangutan. So in 1899, a reported footprint appeared in Lawrence Waddell's Among the Himalayas. Waddell reported his guide's description of a large ape-like creature that left the prints, which Waddell thought was made by a bear. Waddell heard stories of a bipedal ape-like creature, and this is a quote. He wrote that none, however, of the many Tibetans I have interrogated on this subject could ever give me an authentic case. On the most superficial investigation, it always resolved into something that somebody heard tell of. So in the 20th century, the frequency of reports increased when Westerners began making determined attempts to scale the many mountains in the area and occasionally reported seeing odd creatures or strange tracks. In 1925, N.A. Tombasi, a photographer and member of the Royal Geographical Society, that he saw a creature at about 15,000 feet, which is 4,600 meters, near Semu Glacier. I think that's how it's said. I don't know. So, Tombasi later wrote that he observed the creature from about 200 to 300 yards, which is 180 to 270 meters away, for about a minute, and this is a quote: "Unquestionably, the figure in outline was exactly like a human being, walking upright and stopping occasionally to pull at some dwarf rhododendron bushes. It showed up dark against the snow, and as far as I could make out, wore no clothes." About 2 hours later, Tombasi and his companions descended from the mountain and saw the creature's footprints, described it as similar in shape to those of a man, but only 6 to 7 inches long by 4 inches wide, and believed it was indeed a biped, which is, again, a two-footed animal. In the 1950s, the Westerners' interest in the Yeti peaked dramatically, and around this time there were a lot of pictures taken of what people thought was a Yeti footprint. So while attempting to scale Mount Everest in 1951, Eric Shipton took photographs of a number of large prints in the snow at about 6,000 meters above sea level, which is 20,000 feet above sea level. These photos were subject to intense scrutiny and debate. Some argue they are the best evidence of Yeti existence, while others say that the prints are those of like a creature we already know of, also has been enlarged, or it has changed because the snow was melting, so that is why it is as big as it is, some people say. So in 1954, the Daily Mail's The Snowman Expedition, John Angelo Jackson tracked and photographed a lot of footprints that were unidentifiable, and this expedition is said by Daniel Taylor, who is the author of Yeti, The Ecology of a Mystery, who has been searching for signs of the Abominable Snowman for 60 years, that this was the most important expedition, and that was when the Yeti fever took over. And after this, a lot of expeditions occurred and much evidence was collected. So this Daily Mail one was like the big one. This was like the jackpot. This was when the craze of the Yeti kind of began. So the Daily Mail printed an article on March 19th, 1954, which described a expedition teams obtaining hair specimens from what was alleged to be from a Yeti scalp. This hair was analyzed by Professor Friedrich Wood Jones. As you can see, I have a very hard time pronouncing their names. And I'm really trying to just be respectful of everyone's names. But Friedrich Wood Jones, professor, who is an expert in human and comparative anatomy, and he concluded that the hairs was in fact not from a scalp and was unable to pinpoint what animal the hair was from, but he was convinced that the hairs were not from a bear or an ape, but he suggested it was like from a coarse-haired, hoofed animal, so like a goat or something like that, which is like a bummer. Just me commentating, okay? Just my commentary on that. Anyway, in 1959, Tom Slick went on a mission to investigate Yeti reports and collected Yeti feces. Poop. Feces. Yeah, you get it. And when a fecal analysis was done, the parasite in the feces couldn't be classified. So they couldn't like find out what animal the feces came from, which weirdly enough, I found this interesting that they did an analysis of the parasite in the feces and not like the feces itself. And by like seeing what parasite there was, you could see what animal it came from. I don't know why that fascinated me. Yeah, okay. Moving on. In 1960, Sir Edmund Hillary mounted the 1960 to 61 Silver Hut expedition to the Himalayas, which was to collect and analyze evidence of the Yeti. He borrowed a supposed Yeti scalp and brought the scalp back to London, where Marka Burns made a detailed examination of the sample of skin and hair from the scalp that he had brought back and compared it with similar samples from different types of bears. Burns concluded that the sample was probably made from the skin of an animal closely resembling the sampled specimen of Cero, but definitely not identical with it. Possibly a local variety of race of the same species or a different but closely related species. So, yeah. Bummer. In 1966, a Bhutanese stamp was made to honor the Yeti, and after a relatively common belief in the creature, which I just wanted to throw in there because right now you've just listened to me ramble on about a lot of tests and stuff like that. Yeah. In 1970, British mountaineer Don Willens claimed to have witnessed a creature when scaling Annapurna, and he saw it moving on all fours. In 1983, a Himalayan conservationist, Daniel C. Taylor, and Himalayan national historian Robert L. Fleming Jr. led a Yeti expedition into Nepal's barren Valley, where they discovered a Yeti footprint, large nests in trees, and vivid reports from local villagers of two bears, and also skulls were collected and they were compared to known skulls at the Smithsonian Institution, American Museum of Natural History, and British Museum, and confirmed identification of a single species, which is the Asiatic black bear, showing no morphological difference between the tree bear and the ground bear. In 2004, Henry Gee, a editor of the journal Nature, he mentioned the Yeti as an example of folk belief deserving further study, writing, this is a quote, "The discovery that Homo floresiensis survived until so very recently in geological terms made it more likely that stories of other mythical human-like creatures such as Yetis are founded on grains of truth." In early December 2007, American TV show host Josh Gates, and I'm saying it like this because like I watch Josh Gates, specifically Destination Truth, and also his talk show with my family sometimes, and he is amazing. And when I found out he had something like he was like a big deal in this Yeti Abominable Snowman thing, I kind of went insane. Josh Gates and his team from Destination Truth reported finding 3 footprints in rocky, hard soil near a river. And also they found hair on a tree and some other stuff. They actually found like a lot of stuff. And also if you watch the series that they did with the Yeti specifically, they actually also think they found like physical evidence on camera of a Yeti walking, but they were very skeptical of maybe them actually finding something. The footprint and the hair and all the other stuff was examined by Jeffrey Meldrum, who is a professor of anatomy and anthropology, yeah, and a professor of the Department of Anthropology at Idaho State University, where he actually said that it was great evidence of the Yeti actually being a real creature. And like I watched the episode myself just to see like what happened and stuff like that. And in articles that you read online about Josh Gates and the whole Yeti thing says one thing, and then another thing happens in the episode which annoyed the hell out of me, because I was like, what the hell? Because I read a lot of articles about Josh Gates and his team where it said that nothing came of it, nothing came of it, but the professor, or Jeffrey Meldrum, he actually said it was really impressive evidence of the Yeti. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that in. In 2010, hunters in China caught a strange animal that they claimed was a Yeti, which was then identified as a civet, which is a small cat-like animal, and the cat had actually just lost its hair because of a disease. And yeah, So no luck there. So in 2011, the Russian government actually took an interest in the Yeti and organized a conference where scientists and enthusiasts, they declared having 95% evidence of the existence of the Yeti, but the Bigfoot researcher and biologist John Bindernagel said the evidence was a hoax, and American anthropologist and anatomist Jeffrey Meldrum, the guy that we talked about before with Josh Gates, said it was man-made evidence and concluded that the Russian expedition was more of a publicity stunt than a serious scientific endeavor. So I'm just gonna put on my lashes, do mascara, and then I'll come back and talk some more. Okay, I kind of look like a doll right now, but you know, it's fine. And I have makeup all over my hand right now. So that is actually all the history that I could find of people trying to find out if the Abominable Snowman actually is real. If you want to learn more about the Abominable Snowman or the Yeti, I would really recommend you search on Google and read either Yeti, the Ecology of a Mystery, or the interview that I just can't remember who it was, but someone did an interview with Daniel Taylor, the author of the book, and where they talk about the Yeti and the expeditions and stuff like that. So if you want to learn more, I would really recommend you read about that. My eyelash is loose, and I really don't want to try to stick it on again, so I'm just gonna leave it right now. Yeah. Over the years, there has been made a lot, and I mean tons of movies about the Yeti or starring a Yeti or anything Yeti related. And I'm going to tell you some of them right now. So, in 1954, a movie called The Snow Creature was published by W. Lee Wilder. Yeah. Then there's Half Human or Beastman Snowman in 1955 by Ishiro Honda. Then we have Man Beast from 1956 by Jerry Warren. Then we have The Abominable Snowman from 1957 by Val Guest. We have The Abominable Snow Rabbit from 1961, which is an animated short by Chuck Jones and Maurice Nobel. Then we have The Catch a Yeti in 1995 by Bob Keane. Then we have Yeti, A Love Story from 2006 by Adam Deyo and Eric Goslin. Then we have Expedition Unknown, Hunt for the Yeti from Travel Channel by Josh Gates from 2007. Then we have Smallfoot from 2018, which is an animated movie by Carey Kirkpatrick and Jason Rysick. Then we have Abominable from 2019 by Jill Colton and Todd Wilderman. We also have The Abominable Snowman, which is from the comics, which is a fictional character in the Marvel Comics universe. Then we have Abominable Snowman, a character in Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck cartoons. And then we have, of course, I had to mention it last, okay? The Abominable Snowman, a character from the Pixar film Monsters Incorporated from 2001, voiced by John Ratzenberger. And all I have to say is snow cone. I'm going to do my lipstick because I couldn't do that while I was talking. So I'm going to do my lipstick and my setting spray, and then I will come back and say my final thoughts on this. So, some scientists really want it to be true, and some scientists are like, yeah, it's not true, it's fake, it's like, yeah. And then we have the skeptics that are like, yeah, there's no scientific proof. And then we have the true believers that's like, the reason why there's no proof is because it is such a secretive, elusive, rare animal that we just can't find it. And that just further proves for them that it is indeed out there. That was the Abominable Snowman. And I'm actually kind of digging this makeup. My eyelashes keep popping off, which I have no idea why, but that's just that. So the reason why I wanted to do the Abominable Snowman is it popped into my head, and I was watching Monsters Incorporated, which is my favorite Disney Pixar film, and I watched it, and then I saw the Abominable Snowman in it, and I was like, there's something there. And yeah, I really want to do more of these. I am actually in the works of reading up on werewolves and sirens and wendigos and banshees and stuff like that, because if you don't know, I really love reading about these creatures. If you want to learn more about these creatures, please subscribe to my channel because there's going to be many more of these. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my face. And I will see you next time. Bye!